teachings of this world we forget, or we fail to assimilate, appropriate in our hearts and minds. Because it says, Jesus said, let this sink deep down in your ears. You can get this. That sometimes when it looks like God is losing, he's winning. Now, what do I say with that? Messiah says he's going to die. And when he does die, what happened to the disciples? They scattered. Movement is over. Leave it dead. And go on, go. Peter says, well, I go fishing. I go back to the occupation I had before he called me. Because in their minds, it was still slow to grasp. Hey, you know, how can Jesus being God die? Movement is over. Leave it dead. Boom. You done lost that battle. But 3 days later, we showed God was winning. Because God had already sent him. Right? So sometimes we think and we see things through natural eyes and we don't grasp what God is doing. And we say, well, that didn't work out. But never forget, when it looks like God is losing, he's always winning. Because God never lost anything. Two steps behind is 20 steps forward. Here comes the Lord.
On the last statement, it says that when it was hidden from you.
Yeah.
That was when he knew it. Not really, but it was really because he did it too.
I think God did not want them to know all that was involved right now. They weren't ready for it. Why don't you let God tell you some stuff before you say it? You know what? I return back. He returned back. He ain't strong enough to deal with this. And so, that's why he spent time with his disciples. He's getting ready to leave. And so it's important for him to spend time with them. To remind them some things he's already said to them. Okay. But God has his own time. I have been studying the passage for 30 years. No longer than that. Yeah, I seen it. You got seen it 30 years? It's a long time. For 32 years, I had to read this passage. Not even 32 years. And Philippians 2, it says, 6, God loved him to himself. And that was the passage, but he didn't think, let me see this. I can't remember the exact phrase. Yeah. Talking about Jesus. This is what I'm going to talk about now. So although he existed in the form of God, he did not really regard the quality of God as thing to be grasped or robbed. But empty himself. I got a lot of notes on this passage in my mind. Philippians is one of the Greek classes in seminary. through the entire book in Greek. Okay. I'm thinking, how can I explain this? Because I missed in the pulpit as a fall in the pew. Got it from Reverend Armstrong. I was on my way home Bible study last night. And I normally don't have it on 90.5, I have it on 88.9. So I turned it on to 90.5 and heard John MacArthur. And when he explained verse 6, he made, after 32 years, I finally understood what that passage meant. Can you believe it? What it really for? And his exegesis was on the word grasp. Some texts have grasp robbery, some texts have grasp, some texts have to mean to cling on to. And MacArthur's statement was that if the word meant grasp, to grab, Jesus didn't have to grab for what he already had.
All right.
In other words, he was already God. So
Right.
he didn't have to grab on to some godness. But it also could mean cling to. He didn't have to hold on to his deity as though he was going to lose it. So I thought, wow, that's it. That's what it means. He being in the form of God, that is, he's being God, didn't have to grab on to something as though he didn't have it.
Come on now.
He didn't have to grab for deity. Because he was deity. He didn't have to hold on to deity as though he was going to lose it. So I understand what the disciples went through.
What was your thoughts on the prior to that?
Well, I couldn't really. I could teach the passage based on the morphe and the schema, when he talks about the form of God, I mean, because that's not the attributes of God. And schema was the body, the form. So we knew that he was God. But what does it mean to grasp? What is he grabbing for? You follow what I'm saying? And that's what stumped me right there. And MacArthur cleared it up for me last night at 32.
That's Philippians chapter what?
2, verse 6.
Verse 6.
Yeah. My point is that sometimes we don't learn things, we don't get it right away.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
After 32 years, I had to go on to his class in Greek. He and I went to the same thing. It was a Greek course in seminary. After almost 30 years of pastoring, last night this passage finally cleared up for me.
Yeah, Lord.
So you never know. Sometimes we think we know. And God, I'm not ready for all that right now. I'll let you know when it's time. Yes, sir.
Work with me a little bit more. It says consider it robbery to be equal with God.
Yes.
Did not consider it robbery to be equal with God.
Yeah, when you're robbed, you grab for it, right? Don't you grab stuff when you're robbed stuff?
Okay.
Yeah, you're stealing it, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Christ ain't got to steal, did he?
Okay.
He was dead. You got to grab for it as though he got something. You don't grab what you already got. That's the point.
My mind made the question of robbing whom. That's, consider Roger to be equal with God. Is he considered with Rod and God or something?
No, it's not in that sense.
My Bible reads different because
Yeah.
it says, did not consider.
Right.
It wasn't even a question.
Yeah, it was, he didn't have to take from God to be God.
Right.
Okay.
He is God. He didn't have to hold on to his godness as though he was going to lose it. Because he was God just as much in the womb as he was in the tomb. Okay. That's sometimes we fail to understand. Jesus did not become God. Jesus was God as a seed. In fact, Mary was saying in her praise of him, the Creator. So Jesus used Mary as a vehicle to give him a body. That's all Mary did for him, to help him become a man. Yes.
So so the saying is that they say, has no man seen God at no times, but he came in the form of Jesus. Is this what you're saying?
Well, let me make sure that we get it right. Okay. Well, I want to go into modalism. When you're talking about the Trinity, you're talking about three individual persons. Okay. When it says God became a man, you're talking about Jesus became a man. God the Son became a man. Not that God the Father became a man in the person of his Son. We're not talking about that. Okay. We're talking about that the second person of the Trinity became a human. Okay. And he had to become a human in order for men to see him. Because the flesh veiled who he was, or covered who he was. That's why we saw last time in the Mount of Transfiguration, when he allowed them to see just a glimpse of who he really was behind the flesh. Peter, James, and John. This is how I looked before I became a man. That's why I said he was transfigured. He shone like the sun. Remember when Moses came out Mount Sinai, they put a veil on Moses' face. They couldn't look upon him. So they put a veil over his face so they could look upon Moses. Anyway, yeah.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
What do you say to people say the Lord told me this, the Lord told me that? I ain't found that in the Bible.
What do I say?
What is the facts?
Well, I just said, tell what the Lord said. Then if it don't line with scripture, the Lord didn't tell you. If it aligned with scripture, he didn't tell me nothing ain't written.
Your guy come to me one day and said, the Spirit told me you had a girlfriend. I said, tell me who she is, I might like her. He didn't tell me that. I said, well, don't you know God know where I live? He could have told me.
I ain't seen you no way you're supposed to be, are you?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
So, Dr. Reed, you can explain that a little bit more.
What's that?
Things that's not revealed to you as to what God wants you to do. How would you say that?
Now, I would say we're ever learning. You don't stop growing God doesn't want you or me to think, no matter how much education and knowledge we have of the scripture, that we don't need no more information. Okay, the Spirit of God is constantly shedding light on text to help us, to clarify some things. It was just, I so happened to turn to 90.5 last night when I left the church, which I normally don't do. And the Lord knew that I had been struggling how to apply that text. Okay? I had thought about it years ago. You know, I taught it, preached the Philippians, and did the best I could with it. But I wasn't satisfied myself. And I wasn't reading Philippians at all. It just so happened that God was dealing with something. So I said, let me just see what he got to say. And wham, bam, there it was. That's why you really need to keep studying. And listen to good preachers. Turn on so many boys that holler at you and singing at you.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Amen.
You ain't learning that from them. Turn on some of these teachers that's going to help you explain this stuff to you. Thank y'all for coming. Appreciate y'all being here. Now, 237. When they came to Capernaum, those who received the temple tax came to Peter and said, does not your teacher pay the temple tax? Now, the temple tax was a tax to upkeep of the temple. He said, yes. And when he had come to the house, Jesus anticipated him, saying, what do you think, Simon? From whom do the kings of the earth take customs or taxes? From their sons or from strangers? Peter said to him, from strangers. Jesus said to him, then the sons are free, right? Yeah. Nevertheless, lest we offend them, go to the sea, take a hook, take a fish, the first fish that comes up, and when you open his mouth, you will find a piece of money. Take it and give it to them for me and for you. In other words, what Jesus is saying, listen, we're sons of the kingdom. We don't need to be, we should be paying taxes, but that's what the government has asked for, so we're going to be good citizens. We're not going to let them use that against us. So pay your taxes. I had a fellow yesterday told me that he'd been 9 years in prison. I said, man, what you in prison for? I ain't paid no taxes. Don't you know to pay? Well, you know, IRS is a legal institution. Yeah, but it's a dinosaur. And you got to pay them taxes. You should have learned from Wesley. Snipes.
That's right.
Because y'all do know the IRS is a legal institution.
That's right.
So is the Federal Reserve. It's against the Constitution. It's against the law. Y'all didn't know that? It is.
Explain.
Huh?
What do you mean? It was explain. Explain.
It was the income tax thing was never designed by the founding fathers. It's not in the Constitution to levy money from its citizens. But because it's been installed for years now, so much money being collected, they would take you to jail if you don't pay it. That's why Wesley Snipes said he's not going to pay no more taxes. That was his reasoning. And he found out. He found out you better pay them taxes. Right? Now you go to court, you go, I say it's illegal institution, judge can say, you're probably right, but you're going to jail. So that's how the judge get his salary. He ain't going to cut his own throat. Right? See, because he was telling me, he said, I studied law all through prison. I went to the law library every day and researched and researched. I said, yeah. I said, you know I know it's an illegal institution. He said, you know that? I said, they knew that. But I'm paying my taxes. Unless I give up my liberty.
That's when you little buddy
back when God told them folk when they was asking for a king, that, okay, I'm gonna give you a king, but now here's what's gonna happen. He's gonna take all your money, he's gonna take all your children.
Yeah.
So that wasn't instituted then, taxes being levied and all that, wasn't that instituted as a result of the people wanting a king instead of God?
Yeah, God told them that was going to happen. Right. But when you read the history of the United States of America, you don't find internal revenue service. When you read the Constitution, you don't find internal revenue service. Which you know, but again, don't go out here.
You're going to jail.
You go to jail.
That's right.
Ron Lively went to jail. You know, Lively brother Leaderson? Yeah, he went to jail on that bad day.
They after Mary J. right now.
Yeah, Mary J. Blige. Yeah. So Mary J., if you listen to this, pay them taxes.
They couldn't touch real life, though.
Huh?
They couldn't touch real life.
Because your real life was small.
They put it under the church.
That's it. And that's legal. Yeah. So when you hear people like Warren Buffett will say to you and make y'all think, oh, this is so unfair. I pay more taxes than my secretary. Right? And y'all think, oh boy, he needs to pay more taxes. Don't listen to that crapola. That's what your market would say. That's crapola. Now Warren Buffett worked how much? No, what more than that, he gave all of his children, 3 of his children, $1 billion apiece. He worth about 18 billion, maybe 20 billion. Right? And he said, I pay more taxes than my secretary. And y'all think, ooh, boy, that's unfair. The rich need to pay more. Can I share with y'all what the rich do? Can I just tell you what Buffett do? He ain't tell you that he do. He worth $20 billion. Let's say 20 billion, rounding out $20 billion, right? But he only paying himself about 100,000 a year. And guess what he can be taxed on? The 100,000. He can't be taxed on the 19 billion because that's in the corporation that he owns. He can only be taxed on money that he's given in hand. So that's why he can pay less taxes than his secretary if he's paying his secretary more than because what he does is, that's what they don't tell you. All the rich people do this. And they're wise to do it. So if they got $1 million house, they pay the house note with the corporation check. Corporation pay the house. Corporation pay for his car. Corporation pay for everything. He can only be taxed on what he gets in hand.
Wow.
Don't be fooled by these folk that I need to pay more taxes. All you gotta do is pay more taxes. Show more income and you have to pay more taxes. That's all you got to do, right? But pay your taxes. Don't go there trying to argue against the IRS. You're going to jail.
Yep.
And don't call me because I only accept a phone call from the jail. I don't. That's $15 a call.
Wow.
Y'all know that? You said, accept the charge, that's $15. Plus how many minutes you talk. Huh?
Yeah, I know my brother's calling. $100 won't call me.
Yeah. Don't call me from the jail. Call me when you get out. At that time, the disciples came to Jesus when he was in the house saying, who then is the greatest of the kingdom? Then Jesus asked him, was it you disputed among yourselves on the road? But they kept silent. For on the road they had disputed, which is the word for dialogue, among us who would be the greatest. And Jesus sat down. Right? He sat down because that's the posture of a teacher. A rabbi, when he taught sitting. And he called the 12. Now, where did we get the pulpit from? We get that from Israel. Israel chapter 8, I believe it is. That's where he stood up at a podium. But the posture in Israel for a teacher is to teach out of the chair. That's why the Pope, when the Pope wants to make a declaration, Catholic law, he do it sitting down. And when he says it, sitting down is binding on good Catholics. Because he's speaking ex cathedra out of the chair. And he called the 12 and said to them, if one of the desires to be first, let him be last of all, and servant of all. Then he, perceiving the thought in their hearts, took a little child and set him by him in the midst of them. And when he had taken them in his arms, he said, surely I say unto you, unless you are converted and become as little children, you are by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, who humbles himself as a little child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Whoever receives one little child like this in my name receives me. Whoever receives me receives not me, but him who sent me. For he who is the least among you shall be the greatest. That's page 239. Now, what he's saying is this. In this culture, when Jesus was talking about, children had no status at all. Okay? In Jewish life, children were really neither seen nor heard. Okay, as far as their culture. So they were humans, but that was about it. Then your child, you left them. Greatness in the world system is measured by independence. Greatness in this culture is measured by one's achievement. Little children have no accomplishments or achievements. So Jesus is saying humility is measured in God's program by dependence, so that the way up with God is the way down. Children have no resources of their own. They are dependent. They are trusting. Okay? When you were a child, you trusted your parents to provide for you. Right? You didn't worry about light bill, gas bill, water bill, house note. Right? That was not your issue. That wasn't my issue. The only time that became an issue when I got a job, they said, you got to give me some money. Right? Now that you are grown, you got to worry about those things. Because you got to do it on your own now. But children are very trusting. You have to tell a child, listen, don't talk to strangers. Don't get in the car with a stranger. Because they are very trusting. And Jesus is saying, you got to be like a little child. If you want to be great in God's kingdom, be the least, be humble. And that should be a lesson to a lot of church people. The worst person you can put in leadership in your church is the person that's seeking it.
Lord have mercy.
Let me say it again. The worst person that you can put in leadership in the church is a man or a woman that's seeking it.
Lord have mercy.
That's campaigning for it. Those people that are humble, they'll do a good job for the Lord.
Amen.
They'll be faithful to the Lord.
Amen.
I see pastors get all excited. We got some teachers in our churches. Man, we got some teachers, some public school teachers, some college professors in the church. And you know what I've done, Reverend? What that, man? I made him a Sunday school teacher. That may be the worst thing you could have done.
Amen.
Because you're assuming because they can teach English, they can teach the Bible.
That's right.
Amen.
That's not always true. It may be that fellow that had an 8th grade education can do a better job teaching the Bible. But you overlook him because he don't have a quote-unquote degree. He might not have the paper degree, but he might have the degree of devotion that that person don't have.
Come on now. Come on.
So here's a man, he just got out of college. He is a CPA. The first thing he joined your church, you gonna put him on the finance committee. Sometimes that may be the worst time.
Come on now.
Because he's dealing with numbers. He's not dealing with faith.
Come on now.
He's gonna say, well, no, this can't be done. He can't see it because he ain't mature enough to see it. Well, brother, if we had everything we need, we wouldn't even need to talk to God about it.
Come on now. Come on. Come on.
What go to God with about something you already got? Where is the eye of faith? No, we can't see it, but God knows. This is what God do. God wants it done at a flood. If you don't, he'll shut it down. Amen. So if God shuts it down, he didn't want it done. So hey, all we lost is just a little time. But look at some of the valuable lessons we learned along the way. Be humble. Don't go in the church. Don't look for position. Just be yourself. You know, the Lord will point you out. But it's time.
Lord have mercy.
Amen.
Amen.
You know, Pastor, I've been going. I've been to school at Crossroads. So, hey. Relax. Anytime. God will put you where he wants you to be. And when God puts you there, you're there.
Come on now.
You never forget, heard a story about a fellow, old man, he was in his 80s, and Fort Worth, Texas, and had a 5th grade education. Went to his pastor, I want Sunday school class, a young boy. Pastor told him to, we ain't got no young boys in the church. He said, go get them, you can have a class. And sure enough, he went out and got them. Big relationships. And taught them boys Sunday school. Out of 20 boys in his class, Sunday school class, 13 of them became preachers. 4 became missionaries. The rest of them became deacons in that church. Faithful. A man with a 5th grade education.
Lord have mercy.
Don't tell me what God can't use.
Come on now. Come on.
Amen.
You and I know there's some guys right now that graduated seminary right now, driving trucks. Nothing wrong with that. But sometimes God can't use them
Come on now.
because they're not humble enough
Lord have mercy.
to sit up under somebody. They got to be the big dog.
Come on now.
Then God will put them on the shelf.
Lord have mercy.
Right there on the shelf. I can't use you. You're too high. Be humble.
Amen.
Don't go to church with a know-it-all spirit.
Yes.
Because you don't know it all.
Come on now.
I don't know it all.
Come on now.
Don't be using my name like you know it all.
Amen.
get me in trouble with your preacher because you using my name.
Dr. Reed said.
What Dr. Reed said. They'll kill me at the church. I ain't know I was dead.
Oh, my goodness.
Page 240.
Before you go to 240,
Yeah.
in the context of what you described in that culture, the children were looked upon as human beings,
Yeah.
but they didn't have,
They have permanence.
right? But also, in the context of that was their society today. How they are utilizing that today. Children in rights today, in a comparison.
Well, they're doing it for a whole different reason today. Okay, they're different. You know, this stuff they got going on today, it's all about trying to stop communism in America. And so when you talk about children's rights today, that what they're doing is they're taking the rights away from parents. Okay, and when you take away the rights from parents, okay, children go wild. And then the state got to come in and take over.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
So they build more juvenile homes, they build more prisons, and they build more all these other things. Because what they're doing is, one of the tenets of communism is that children must become under the authority of the state rather than their parents. So that's why you see all these rights going on with kids. And they nut up at school, they cuss teachers out at school and all this stuff because that's by design. We grew up, I assume most of you are similar to my age. In America, I grew up, kids are seen but not heard.
That's right. That's right.
You just did go in there talking when the parents were talking,
Come on now.
right?
No, sir.
Right.
I didn't have no rights except the ones my parents gave me.
Come on now.
Right.
That's right.
But my parents said, don't leave this yard for no reason. Which meant was, you ain't got no rights.
None.
Hello?
Come on, come on.
None. That's right.
That's right. Parents raised us,
That's right.
Amen.
didn't they?
Yes.
Amen.
And the community helped out. The community didn't raise us. The community affirmed what the parents told us
Come on now. Amen.
back then. But see, now when they take away all the rights of these parents, that's by design. So they can get the kids under the water authority of the state and take your rights as parents and grandparents away from you. So they put you in jail for whooping the child,
Yes.
called child abuse. Can you imagine Brother Norman back in the day? When we were growing up on Philadelphia? All right. Huh?
On this Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, think about it, yeah. I'd have been there, had to try to raise bail for my mom and daddy.
Yeah, Lord.
Amen.
Yes,
Now John was answering and said, Teacher, we saw someone who does not follow us casting out demons in your name. We forbade him because he did not follow with us. Jesus said, don't forbid him. For one who works a miracle in my name can soon afterwards speak evil of me. He is not against us, is on our side. For whoever gives up a cup of water and drink in my name because you belong to Christ, surely I say to you, by no means lose his reward. But he who causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a millstone hung around his neck and drown in the depths of the sea. Woe to the world because of our offenses. For our offenses must come, but woe to the man by whom they come. Now here it is. Jesus says, if you do just the smallest thing in my name, you're not going to lose a reward. Okay. See, a lot of times people think we got to do something spectacular. You know what Christ is looking for? He's looking for faithfulness.
Amen.
That's what he's looking for. If you can't give, listen, if you can't give God $1 million, give him 100.
Come on.
But that's what you can give him. But now I got to wait, Lord. He just blessed me with the lottery. I'm going to give you 10% of that $50 million that's on the docket for Friday night. Now wait a minute now. You got $500, you can't give God 50.
Come on now. Good.
What makes you think you're going to give him $5 million?
That's right.
If it's hard to give him 50, it's going to be doubly hard to give him $5 million.
Yes, sir.
They ain't gonna do it.
They ain't gonna do it. And then he said, don't cause little ones to stumble, where their faith could be ruined. But if you do that, a millstone was something they used for grinding, you know, that little thing in the middle. That was a heavy thing. And Jesus says, it's better for that person to be drowned in the depths of the sea.
What's involved in causing a little one to stumble?
Well, anything that will cause a person's faith to be ruined. Okay, we're doing something, saying something that's not conducive to Christianity. And here's a person weak in the faith follow us, and they begin to do some things and take it to the greater degree, and they no longer go to church and no longer read the Bible. You cause that person to stumble.
So my lifestyle.
Yes. Yes. He said, woe to the world because of offense. So offenses must come. They're going to come. But woe to the man by who they come. You know.
So the ones who
Yeah.
are not Christian and have children that they have, their agenda is not taking to learn them anything about God.
Say again?
Their agenda, their way of life is not toward God, not toward teaching their children anything about God.
Yeah. You gonna say me?
Yeah, I was gonna say, he works for children. Does he mean children in the instance, little ones?
Yeah, he's talking about little children here, but it's also talking to the disciples because children are trusting.
Okay.
So here you are, you are an adult, and children are following you. They're trusting you, and you're doing some things that are wrong, and they learn that behavior. Okay, you see, the world going to do things to cause Christians to be offended, but God's going to judge the world. Think about what's happening today with this homosexual and transgenderism. Yeah, I was hearing today on my way in this morning where the United Methodist Church is going to have some of the leaders came out against this gay marriage stuff, but they're going to have a big shebang in 219 to decide whether or not it's conducive with scriptures. Why have a convention for that? You know, thank God they're going to have it because they need to have it. But think about those churches and those politicians who push that stuff in the culture. God's going to judge them.
Yes.
That's right.
That's right.
And pastors,
Yeah.
God's going to judge them. The church up there by St. Joseph Catholic Church, God's going to judge that church. Because they're teaching people to sin.
Lord have mercy.
They've approved of sin. Because they want to be socially and politically correct. They don't want to be thought of as a church that's narrow-minded. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a narrow-minded preacher. And I'm proud of being narrow-minded. Because anybody who ain't narrow-minded claiming to love the Bible is stupid. The way is narrow. Jesus told you that. If he don't narrow the way, what am I to do? Who am I to open it up for everybody? Amen. We're afraid of that. Because people say, well, we're intolerant. You know what I tell people? They tell me that. You are intolerant of my intolerance. Because if you was tolerant, that you claim that if you claim that I'm intolerant, which is assuming you are tolerant, then why don't you like me from my view? If you were really tolerant, you say, listen, Reed, I disagree with your view, but that's your view. But I'm not going to hate you for it. I'm not going to fire you for it. If you say on your job today, you working today, somebody asks you, do you believe in traditional marriage? And you say yes, they're going to send you to HR. Human resources, they're going to investigate and fire you. Because if you say you for traditional marriage, you are by default saying you're against gay marriage.
That's right.
So you're intolerant. And they got Christians scared.
Yes.
They scared. God never meant for a man to marry a man,
Sure no.
and a woman to marry a woman.
No, sir.
And listen to me, ladies and gentlemen, this is on YouTube. You see it on YouTube. Tell your friends, because I'm finna say it. I don't care how much snipping a man does, he can never be a woman.
That's right. Come on.
You can cut off anything you want to cut off. And a woman can never be a man.
Come on.
Somebody Oprah had a show one time about this man had a baby. Everybody tuned in. Come on. That was a woman.
Come on.
Perpetrating as a man.
That's
Come
right.
on now.
And by the way, Bruce Jenner, he's still a man in certain parts of his body. And he had the surgery yet. He still say he look at women, pretty women.
Lord have mercy.
Oh, God.
Huh? As a man.
Someday wants to go back now.
He does. When he came out of whatever surgery he had, he looked in the mirror and said, oh my God, what have I done to myself?
Sure.
And the doctor had to talk him out of feeling bad about it. Because he needed to keep that money. If your hand or your foot caught you, sin, cut it out. Cast it away from you. It is better for you to live a life maimed or lame rather than having 2 hands and 2 feet and go to hell in everlasting fire that shall never be quenched, where the wind does not die and the fire is not quenched. What he's saying is this. He's not telling you to cut off your hand, your literal hand. He's not talking about getting that dig out your eye. What he's saying is whatever is keeping you from coming to Christ,
Come on now.
push that aside. Leave it alone. Because it's better to go to heaven without it than go to hell with it.
That's right.
This is figurative language. Okay? So, some things we just need to not do. Amen. I can say, well, I will come to Christ, but I just can't get it. Well, that's not going to send you to hell, but that can cause you not to go to heaven.
Well,
What do you mean? Well, that sin you're involved in, it ain't like Jesus paid for all sin. That's not going to send you to hell, but what's going to happen is that you die because you don't want to give it up. And you don't want to accept Christ because you don't want to get that lifestyle up there. You're going to go straight to hell.
send yourself.
Right? So it's best to leave that alone. Leave it alone. See? And a lot of times people want to give up some stuff. That's the problem. Everybody tell me. I remember back in the day, people say, well, if I go to hell, at least OJ is going to be there. You don't know what OJ is going to be there or not.
Come on there.
Yeah, but see, when you go to hell, you be there all by yourself.
There you go. By
Did y'all know that? In hell, you be there all by yourself. There ain't gonna be no gathering when y'all talking about how to live.
Come on there.
Man, sure how do we get whatever with you. No, when a person's in hell, they're in a place all by themselves.
That's right. Being tortured.
Yeah, solitary confinement.
That's it.
For the rest of their days. If God call you to sin, plug it out, cast it from you. It's better you enter the kingdom of God with one eye than to have two eyes and be cast in hellfire. For everyone who will be seasoned with fire, everyone will be seasoned with fire, and every sacrifice will be seasoned with salt. Salt is good, but if it loses its flavor, you can't season. Have salt in yourselves and have peace with one another. Salt was essential in Palestine. In fact, Roman soldiers many times were paid with salt. We get the word salary from salt. Just something, you know, if you got a box that says salt and you put salt on the food and it don't salt the food, it don't season the food, it ain't good for nothing, is it? But notice something about salt. Salt never loses its flavor.
Never.
Do you know that?
Never.
You never. But then if salt never loses its flavor, then what was Jesus mean? The only way salt can really lose its flavor is when it mixed with something else. For you can't taste the salt. But salt won't be salt. Right? And so what Jesus is saying here is that our lives should be used to preserve, as salt we use as a preservative, to keep corruption and decay from totally taking over society. Can you imagine what this world would be like if the Church of Jesus Christ wasn't here? We are the antiseptic. We are the penicillin to society. Our presence. We are the ones that are keeping total corruption from setting into society. It's the church. Don't forget that. It's not the government. The government is corrupt, has always been corrupt. Because it got corrupt people running it. But if the church loses its flavor, society won't be fit to live in. That's what he's telling us. So then if society, if we are the salt, then what's the problem in Macon, Georgia? The problem is that the church has been mixed with some other foreign substance.
Amen.
And society in Macon is becoming more and more decay. 25 murders.
Yes, Lord.
In the city of Macon. Only one white on white.
One.
Something wrong with that picture.
Stop looking at City Hall. The problem in Macon beer is not City Hall. The problem in Macon, Georgia, is the church.
Come on now. Amen.
Amen.
The problem in Dallas, Texas is not City Hall. The problem in Dallas, Texas is the church. The problem in New York City is not City Hall. The problem is the church. The problem in the United States of America is not the White House, the Congress, or the Supreme Court. The problem is the churches in America. They've been mixed with something foreign and they've lost their Savior. So we bring all these different doctrines into the church and water down the church. And the church no longer is effective for the kingdom of God. I think about Macon Bill got over 600 and some churches in this city.
Yes, Lord.
Lord have mercy.
We're number one in America for a city size, number uno. We're number one. Somebody was telling me the other week that Macon is the number 5 worst city in the state of Georgia to live in. Number 5. All these churches. 3 boys got killed tonight.
Yeah.
And we worry about a dadgum statue.
Tell it, Pastor.
Come on now.
That statue ain't never shot nobody.
Come on.
Tell it.
Come on.
There's been a statue on Mulberry Street since I'm a little boy.
Come on now.
That statue ain't no bothering me.
Come on.
Ain't nobody else.
Tell it.
Huh?
Tell it.
Sometimes I drive by when we look at it.
Don't I know it's right.
Because why? Because the devil has got our attention focused on something else and not the real problem.
Come on now. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Keep them statues
Tell it. Stay there.
so we can learn from our history.
That's right.
So let me tell you something, black people. Y'all keep taking down the white folk statue. They will start taking down ours.
That's right. That's right.
King gonna come down off that mall too.
Tell it. Tell it. Tell it.
Cause what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Everybody watch yourself.
Amen.
Watch yourself before you wreck yourself.
That's right.
Don't buy into everything called black people saying.
That's right.
Think about it. Every white cop ain't your enemy.
Show name. Show name.
Every black cop ain't your friend.
Show name.
Come on now.
That's right.
You cop pull you over, don't say, why are you pulling me over?
Just comply.
You escalated the situation. Some of you say
Just
that.
comply.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Yes, sir.
Comply.
God, like, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's it.
See, it's situation calm.
That's right.
They
So
come.
when you say, why you pull me over? Cause I'm black?
Yeah.
Nah, you don't make me. Okay, get me got to thinking now. You escalated the situation.
That's right.
My dad always told me, cop pull you over, be courteous.
That's it. Yes, sir.
Sometimes they ask to give you a warning.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes they'll do that.
That's right. Just comply. So,
Why is the media always get black folks upset over white cops shooting a black guy? And they never ever talk about the black on black crime.
come on. Never.
You know why? Because they want to make us useful idiots.
That's it.
That's how they get ratings and that's how they get money.
That's it.
And they'll bleed that thing for weeks. And guess how much money they done made off of that? Oh, they love it. How many of y'all know that a black cop killed a white guy in St. Louis the same day that Michael Brown was killed in first?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
Yes, sir.
Did y'all know that?
I didn't think about it.
That a black cop killed a white guy in St. Louis the same day Michael Brown was killed in first. That happened. You never heard of it, did you? You know why? The media didn't want you to know. Because that don't sell. All I'm saying is, be careful. As a Christian, you ain't got no business hating white people.
None at all. No person.
You ain't got no business hating black people. Mexicans, Muslims. As a Christian, you ain't got no business doing that. As a Christian, you ain't got no business taking sides. The only side you should stand on is the side of the truth.
Truth.
take a break and we'll start the next.
Amen. I'll say,